Hello and welcome to Thyros Web Development Tips and Tutorials. In today's video, I will show you how to create this side navigation with some links here and a top navigation bar in the desktop version. And when you go to the mobile version, the side navigation is hidden, and on click of this hamburger menu, it neatly slides in and then goes back when you want to hide it. Let's see how to do this with Tailwind CSS and Alpine Js. Let's open terminal and let me cd into desktop, and I'll create a new folder for the project. Let me call it sidenav tailwind alpine. Let me cd into this. And now let me open this in Visual Studio Code with this shortcut code space dot. Okay, here let me open terminal and let me initialize the project using npm init-y with the default options. We have our package.json file. Now using npm, let's install Tailwind CSS using the -d option because we want to install it as a dev dependency. So Tailwind CSS also with auto prefixer and post CSS CLI because we will be installing Tailwind CSS as a post CSS plugin here. Once the installation is complete, you should see all three here within dev dependencies. Now let's create the Tailwind CSS config file along with the post CSS config file using npx tailwind css init and a -p option that creates both the files needed. This has the default options that we need, Tailwind CSS as a plugin. And within Tailwind config.js, currently the JIT just-in-time compiler has to be enabled using an option mode here. When you're watching this video, this might be a version 3 when JIT is already the default option, but here since we have the since we have the 2.1.2 version, we will have to manually enable this. So mode JIT. Also within the purge, we need to mention the path. So now let's create a folder, layouts, within which we will have our index.html. That's where we're going to create the side navigation. Also within the layouts folder, let's have a styles.css, and outside in the root, let's create the source CSS file, which is tailwind.css. Now in this tailwind.css, let's add the Tailwind base utilities and components directives by using Tailwind base, Tailwind utilities, and then add Tailwind components, right? And now within the layouts folder is our index.html. Let's create the skeleton. Let's call this side nav using Tailwind CSS and Alpine Js. And here we will be linking the style sheet within the layouts folder. This is what will be generated using Tailwind CSS. This is the file where we will be mentioning all the Tailwind CSS utility classes. In the tailwind.config.js, this path, the index.html path, has to appear here within purge, and all the other HTML files that we might want to have within the layouts folder. So the path here will be /layouts/***/star.html. So as many folders you want, you can add within this, and HTML files can come within that. So this is done. Great. Now in our package.json file, let's add a script. Let me refer the Tailwind CSS documentation for this. tailwindcss.com, and then JIT is what I would type, enabling JIT mode. So again, this might be different if Tailwind CSS v3 has already come in. Currently it's v2.1.0, and here let me copy this line here and we will add it within scripts. So when we do npm run dev, what it does is it uses post CSS, which has Tailwind CSS as a plugin, and it converts this tailwind.css into and outputs it into the, yeah, this is what we need to change. We need to output it into layouts/styles.css, and -w makes sure that it watches the file continuously. So whatever changes you make in the index.html, it starts building it into styles.css, currently empty. So let me close this up and now let's start. To check whether Tailwind is successfully installed, let's just try adding a h1 with maybe text blue 600 and say testing. Let me open this up in, oh sorry, we need to do npm run dev first. Yeah, so this is running. Let me open this up with live server. So this isn't working for some reason. Let me just also add a font bold. Did I not save the package.json file? Let me stop this and do npm run dev once again. Yeah, now it's taking the right path. I don't know why that went wrong. Anyway. Yeah, so now Tailwind CSS is working. Great. Let me remove this and let me open up the browser window side by side. All right, so now this is great. So let's first add this top navigation bar of ours. So which is header, and let me give it class bg gray 700. Within this, let me add a span tag and say Alpine Js with the text 3xl or text 2xl, and then after the SM breakpoint, let me increase it to text 3xl. All right, and obviously text white, and then let's add some padding p3. Okay, I also need to say block for the span tag to make it display block. We might also need a font bold. Let me make this p4. Yeah, this looks fine. For this font to appear quite better, there is this class that I usually add to body, which is anti-aliased. That makes the fonts look smoother. I don't know if you could notice the difference. Anyway, and now I would like to add a min height screen also to the body. Currently you won't notice any change because the body background color is anyway white. Now let's create the side navigation bar on top of this, and later we will add the behavior. For that, let's have this whole header within another div, because that will, in the desktop version, this whole thing will be to the right. So something like this, you will have the you'll have this div on the right and then the sidebar on the left, right? That's why we're going to have this, we need this div, and before this comes the sidebar. So on mobile, we need to absolutely position this because it comes on top of this div here. For if I say absolute here, then I need to add relative to the body. Wait, that's not needed, but anyway, let it be. And then let's say Z 10 because I want it on top of this. But for that to work, we need to have relative here and say Z0. And now let me just start with width 48 or something. Let's just see if this works. PG indigo 900. That's the color I want for the side nav. Text white. H screen, not min head screen, head screen. Okay. So we have this appearing here. This is quite narrow. So let me change it to W64. Yeah, that looks quite good. We might even want to make it W80. All right. Now within this nav, let's have a div that has sidebar, maybe within a span tag, with class font bold, text 3XL, or again text 2XL, and after SM breakpoint, let's make it text 3XL. We need some padding, of course. For the whole navbar, let's add a padding of P3. And then here, let's have a P2. And on this side, we want the icon to push back the side. We want the icon button, which is needed to push the sidebar back, which is why we will have a flex box here. So div class flex, and then comes our icon, which is a button. So within the button, we need that chevron icon, or is it a caret? It's a chevron icon, yeah. For that, let me go to hero icons and let me quickly copy the SVG. So hero icons, I want to search for chevron. Yeah, chevron left, copy SVG, copied. Let me add that here and minimize this. So flex, justify between is what I need, right? And let's have a class of a padding 2 all over, and then on focus, let me say outline none, because by default it adds an outline to the button, and then focus BG indigo 800, also hover BG indigo 800. I also need some rounded corners here, so rounded MD. Yeah, so this is what it looks like. All right, so now let's also minimize this div, and let me add some links here. Say home. So let me add some margin top, so maybe margin top of 8, and then let's add a padding to the A element itself. So class px4 and then py2. Is that too much? Let's see. When you hover, I want a bg indigo 800 and then a rounded MD, and of course block, display block, so that, yeah, so this looks good enough. Let's copy this 3 more times and say home, about, products, and pricing. So yes. Now before we try to achieve the functionality, let's see how to make the sidebar fit into the left in the desktop version, for which let me make it full screen again. Alright, so somewhere around this, so somewhere around the LG screen size, let's try and make this sidebar appear not on this div but next to this div. So for that, again, let me collapse this. Great, so here it's absolutely positioned, but LG screen onwards, we want it to be relatively positioned. And also we need to have a flex box here only for LG screen size and above, flex, and here this div above LG, let's add a flex grow. So what happens is it occupies all the space that is available after this navigation. Yeah, now that's working. Let's see. So this is the desktop and the large desktop, and yeah, right. So this is what we wanted. Great. Now to begin with, on the smaller screen size, the side navigation is hidden. Now instead of hiding the navigation using hidden or something, let's translate it to minus 100% by using minus translate x full, which is same as translate x minus 100%. And for this to work, we need to have the transform class. All right, so let's see if this works. I think we also need an inset 0 so that all the left, right, top and bottom are set to 0. And why isn't this working? Oh, sorry, there's a typo. Yeah. All right. So now it's gone there for you to verify. Let's inspect element and see that yes, it's translated. So if you just change this to 50%, so it's right there. All right. Now we also need this hamburger menu right here. For that, let's come down here, and just before the span, let me add a button. And of course this needs to have flex again, and it anyway is justify start as the default. Now for this button, let me use the same classes. That is, copy this. Of course you can extract this and use you can put it in the style sheet using the apply directive. I'm not going to do all that right now. And let me change this to gray 600 and then gray 600 as well. Let's take the hamburger menu icon from here again. Hamburger, yeah, that's the one. Copy SVG and put it here. Okay, collapse this. Yeah, we need to have a text white. I think we can add the text white right here. And then, okay, right now it's, I think, items stretch. So let me make it items center. Great. I want to push it a little more to the right. So what I do is probably px3 right here. Okay, that's good enough for now. Great, so we have all the appearance ready. Now all we need to do is add the behavior, for which we're going to be using Alpine Js. Now why Alpine Js? Because a behavior like this to add in vanilla JavaScript includes a lot of lines of code, and something like jQuery is too heavy. Alpine JS on the other hand is very light, and it also, you don't have to use a whole framework like Vue or React for this. So let's go to the documentation of Alpine JS, which is right here within the GitHub repository. If you scroll down, let's see how to add it in. So you can of course install using npm, but this is easier. So let's take this from the CDN and include it here. Now we need some variables like, to store whether the navigation is open or not, and that can be done right here at the body because we have the navigation immediately as the child element. We want it accessible throughout. For that, we need to do x data, and within this add that variable. And so let me say open. or you can even say nav open, something like that. For now, I'll just say open, and currently it's false. So the moment you load the page, the sidebar is not visible on mobile, right? So we say open false. And then on this button here, when you click on this button, no, not this button, when we click on this button here, we want the sidebar to open. So for that, we will use the @click equals open equals true. So we're just changing the open false to open true, and on this button we do the opposite. So @click open equals false, because here we want the sidebar to collapse again. Now none of this will work yet because we're not doing anything, we're not changing any classes here. Now this navbar class, currently it has transform translate x full. So what we need is, we need to bind the class, we need some classes that will apply when open is true and some classes that will apply when open is false. So for the way you do that in Alpine is class, and then within flower brackets, let's add the class names that we need when open is true. So when open is true, that means the side navigation is open. So we need to change this to translate x0. So this is the class to add when, that's where you add the colon, when open equals true, right? And add a comma, we need this translate x full, let me remove it from here and add it here, when open equals false. Okay, so this should actually work now. Let's see if it does. Currently, let me refresh once. Currently it's false because that's how it starts. When you click on this, great, it opens. When you click on this, it closes. Fantastic. Now let's add a neat animation so that the side navigation slides in and then slides back out. For that, we'll use the Tailwind utility classes, duration maybe 200, and then let's add some easing. So let's say ease in, or we can add ease in here when open is true, or I think that's okay. Let's add that a little later once it's working. So does this work? Yes, great. So let's add ease in here and then ease out here. Sorry. Okay, looks like that's working. Because the duration is too small, we're not able to make out the difference. You can either add it or leave it out. And one other thing is, I want to also change the opacity when it's hiding so that you see it literally disappearing. So for that, let me add opacity, not there, opacity is 0 here, and by default opacity is 100, but anyway, let's add opacity 100 here. Okay, so do you see it faded from 0 opacity to 100, and then now it fades back to 0. Okay, this is great, it works. Let's see what happens in the desktop. So in the desktop it seems to be hidden for some reason. Let's see how to fix that. So for LG breakpoint, let's set transform none. Also we need an opacity 100. Okay, there it is, but we don't need these two buttons for a desktop. Let's remove them by saying LG hidden, same thing, LG hidden. All right, there we go. We have this here in the desktop, and then on the mobile version, hidden, slides in, slides out. Great. So I hope you really understood something in this tutorial. A very minimal usage of Alpine JS, and you see how simple it was. Just a very few lines of code, adding a class, conditional class here, x data, and then at click in two places. That's how minimal this framework is. So look forward to the crash course on Alpine JS coming very soon. Thank you for watching. Hit a like and share this video ahead. If you enjoyed watching this, don't forget to subscribe below and turn on the notifications so you won't miss a single video from Tyrus.